And Mr. Moderator, the university is a place that builds knowledge, it's a citadel of learning. But it was embarrassing that few days ago, some people came that they were coming from the Bulu land, and said the university land is their land, and they destroy university properties. They destroyed university properties, corps of students in the Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Medicine.
Yeah, I think our viewers should know that Bulu is a village here.
Yeah, Buea, it's a village.
They shouldn't be thinking of the people in the east and south
exactly.
region.
So Bulu is a village here in Buea, a small village, a small community even. And the issue of land dispute it didn't start today. It's an issue of land dispute that the University of Buea had with these Bulu people, and the land was given to the University of Buea by the Supreme Court in Cameroon, which is the highest court in the Republic of Cameroon. Just a few days by, Mr. Moderator, some people came by it and said it was their land. They brought in tractors and some military men, and they came and bulldozed the land and destroyed corps of students, and even destroyed the foundation of the new Faculty of Political Science, Mr. Moderator. And a lot of things were destroyed. A lot of corps were destroyed, Mr. Moderator, to say that this is not good at all. It is very bad. If the Bulu people claim that this is their land, there are procedures of litigation that goes on. But that land was given to the university. And I feel that people of Buea should be able to protect the land of the university, because the University of Buea needs more land to increase more faculties that they can help in knowledge building. And most administrators here in FACO stay quiet. So I don't know what happened. Most administrators stay quiet. I don't know who sent the military people to come to protect the tractor and the Bulu people who came into the university land. Mr. Moderator, this is uncalled for. We need justice in this country, and that land was already given to the university by the Supreme Court of Cameroon. And I want to say that the Supreme Court first ordered an organ of government that gave the land to the university. And let's find some issues from the Ministry of State Property and Land Tenure. Then that means there should be an issue from the Ministry of these people might have contacted the Ministry of State Property and Land Tenure, and I feel that the Supreme Court already gave a condition. A decision, an order was already passed, and the land was given to the University of Buea, and the University of Buea owned that parcel of land. And recently, yesterday or today, the Prime Minister and head of government wrote a decision that the land is owned by the university, that no villager or no group of people should tamper with the university land. And I feel that the Supreme Court falls under the judiciary, and the judiciary is an independent arm of government, and the judiciary already gave the land to the University of Buea. And I feel that it is the responsibility of the Bakwarians to also protect the university land, because the university is in their land. It is their duty, all the politicians and the administrator and the elites of FACO, it is their responsibility to protect the land of the university, not to be taken by people who claim to own the land, which is not their land. So the land is owned by the University of Buea, and the Prime Minister and head of government made mention that nobody should enter in the university land.
Okay, let me come to you, Mr. Njomo Siri. The both parties claim they have documents for the land. And if they have documents, the document was submitted to the court, and which the court decided that this area should go to the village. But since it was decided like that, there wasn't the possibility of the village taking the land. So this time they felt like they should go and do it by force.
Indeed, I think your facts are very up to date, and you therefore agree with me that the confusion, because it's appearing to really be a confusion and not really much of a conflict as it might appear, is coming from the judiciary arm of the government. The FACO court ruled over the land issue and gave priority to the Bulu village. And Barrister Nondi, who is the university lawyer, was not satisfied with that ruling, and the petition the case to the Cameroon Supreme Court that ruled again the same issue and now gave reason to the University of Buea. And so as it stands, both lawyers at conflicting end think that they have legitimacy over the piece of land. But now, if the Prime Minister have instructed the judiciary arm to zoom into this affair and with urgency, it's definitely because there are some allegations of sales. It is believed that the indigenes of Bulu have not occupied the land previously and are engaging into massive sales, okay, selling notably to foreigners, or should I say to Cameroonians, but not indigenous of Bulu community. And that could explain why the FACO elites have not really made pronunciation on the issue that well. And you want to know the position of the university in every cosmopolitan city is that the more the city is growing, the more they have to split the university. If you take the case of Yaoundé 1, when Yaoundé 1 started growing and harboring all its schools, they had to create Yaoundé 2. Okay? And Douala the same thing. When Douala started growing, okay, they had to split they had to split them by section. Yeah. So it is not a specification of Buea alone. And so forcing the university environment into a community, said the Bulu community, for me personally, I think it's not fair. If the Faculty of Health Science, for example, was deported to Bomaka, it has helped to develop that other sector. When you take the trench road from Mile 17 to Munya, that community is really developed thanks to the Faculty of Health Science. And I think in that same light, there are so many other spotted communities in Buea that are not truly developed in terms of infrastructure. So I think that instead of encroaching by all means until we are calling administration, I simply submit that they should look for another community, okay, and see how they can decentralize the university schools there. The Faculty of Agriculture, the upcoming Faculty of Political Science, Likumba, Lyongo Village, there are so many of them around. Okay, even my 16 is still there. Before 2016, my 16 was announced like one of those communities that will harbor all the warehouses, because Buea was estimated to have a turnover of about 5 billion per month, but with the Anglophone crisis we have reduced. So I want to simply submit that this issue at both ends have administrators that are drawing the rope. Okay, they are holding the rope tails, and to pacify the situation, the Bulu people cannot submit if they don't have at least something to hold their hand. And there's no way. I started seeing them protesting. I did not know that protest is allowed in Cameroon. First, some women in Buea town protested recently, and secondly, the Bulu people protested. So I've today see 2 cases of protest that have not been duly notified at the divisional officer, but that they have allowed them to protest. I think this only saying that when the CRM also will call that people should go on the street and protest because of malice, they should not penalize us, because evidently people can protest without being penalized.
Okay, let me come to you, Mr. Item. If you look at it, don't you see that by the time the university was created and they started encroaching into the land that is claimed to be the university land, at that time Bulu was still very insignificant. That it has caused this one. Now that Bulu is growing, that's when they have discovered that part of their land has been taken.
Well, I think I wish to bring to the notice of our listeners that this issue of encroachment by the Bulu community into the University of Buea is not a new phenomenon, because during the days of Dorothy Njoma, I think she fought tirelessly to ensure that, and the good news about Dorothy Njoma was that she was also a person, that is someone from the Bakweri community, so her voice could go viral, and she has an insight of boundary and whatsoever, as per Professor Gumo Manga, who is Indian and does not really maybe gain the sympathy and the minds of the Bakweri people. He might. I'm not concluding that he does not.
Yeah.
Because so, in that sense, I am trying to say that it is not new. But come to think of it, this issue is coming up simply because, as Professor Manga made mention in his write-up, the land that was allocated for the construction of the newly given department faculty of law and political sciences, and a land that was there to enable students to produce to carry out practicals, especially for the Department of Agriculture, and to construct a multimedia center that will encourage online studies and whatsoever, especially with the coming of the coronavirus and distant learning, and with due to the fact that the University of Buea classrooms are becoming tight, and there is need for expansion to give better learning conditions to students. But like Mimi Mefo made mention on her page, Professor Manga is crying as if he is helpless, because he is crying to the general public, and in this case, the general public is also helpless, because we expected a note that was addressed maybe to the hierarchy, like the presidency or the Ministry of the Minister of Higher Education, to come to their help. But in this case, he was just calling on the attention of the general public that they should stay calm, and that he's still waiting patiently on a decision that might come from any angle. Nevertheless, if you look at the 1993 law on issue of university, that is university premises, it forbids any individual, no matter how superior, because one thing I want to make clear to the public is that general interest supersedes personal interest.
Okay.
And in this case, the Bulu people is
a general interest.
No, it's not a general interest.
Okay.
It's a specific interest because it's a community. But the University of Buea harbors the whole Cameroon. It's a general interest. So there is no way by which an individual interest will ever supersede general interest. And in this case, the University of Buea has been there time immemorial, and the Bulu people knew the boundaries from time to time. That boundary have been visited.
Yeah, but what I wish to get from you is, the Bulu has been existing before the University of Buea, but it seems like the village wasn't developed as it is now, and so people were not living there as today.
No, I will tell you sincerely that even now the village is not developed.
Yes. What we are saying is, I want to get something from you. What we are saying is, now you have a resident chief. That wasn't the case before. You have a resident chief. The population there that has increased. Development has started going there. We see some those who are in the business of housing and so on. They have started going there, like Fakoship and the rest. So the place has developed. Now they have gone into their document and discovered that while they were not there, the university has taken part of their land. So are you saying that the university can encroach into any land, since it's a general interest?
Let me correct a statement you made.
I'm giving according to their
when you said when they were not there,
yes,
the university has encroached and seized part of the land.
Yeah, according to them.
Yes. Those are statements that have no weight. They have no weight. And before the law, you cannot tell me that it ceased to exist at one point and the university encroached and seized your land. Let me be honest with you. This very land was still relinquished to the University of Buea, still by the Bulu community. And the very people cannot come this time around to claim that that land belongs to them. Why? You cannot eat your cake and have it back. The Buea community is growing so wide that everybody wants a piece of land to develop, to settle on. And I am not spreading any hate speech here.
Yeah.
But it is a statement that many people feel that the Bakweri people relinquish their land so easily to strangers. Yeah. And in that case, they will have no option than to yearn for other lands. Come to think of it, you got to realize that the CDC around the market and whatsoever, everywhere, the lands have been given to the Bakweri community here and there. But still then, you still hear them crying that they don't have land. The question is, where was the land given to? That was what my learned colleague made mention, Jomo Siri, that most of those lands are given to strangers. And once the lands are given to strangers, they come back and continue asking for more. I'm calling on them to know that land, that university land that they are encroaching into, they might have a good case perhaps if it is proven that they have valid documents, because there is this thing in law where there are two equities are equal. The first in time prevails. The question now will be, who obtains the first document as per the boundary issue?
Can we, I'll think that you can help to answer that question. As he said, who came first in the area? Now we have the University of Buea and the Bulu village. And secondly, if you look at it, don't you think that we don't see the independency of the judiciary in Cameroon, whereby the judiciary had declared that the land be given to Bulu, and now we see the administration trying to come in again?
Mr. Moderator, if you see the university land, there is a department of the university, there are some personnel called the personnel for development. And these people understand the demarcations of the university, very, very important. The Bulu people might have settled somewhere, but they did not cover all the terrain. They never had land certificate to prove that that environment was that land was their land. They might have settled somewhere. They claim that they have this portion, this portion of land, but they don't have any evidence. They don't have any land certificate. They don't have any land title.
If you look at Buea, this village was created long.
It was created long, Mr. Moderator. But let's say, for example, this land, that the university land is there. You know that the land was owned by people before the university owned the land. So when a university is somewhere, it expands. The community even gives lands for the university to expand.
No, the university land was a community
land. It's a community land. And the truth is that Bulu and so on. Yeah. And the truth is that the university has demarcation for all its lands. And the university has land titles for all its land. When you look at the land,
so the Bulu people.
When you look at what we call the land tenure system, the Bulu people want to bring what they call the land tenure system, where people used to think that they just own a portion of land. Like chieftaincy. But this is not the situation. This is a situation whereby a university is in an environment that the university is struggling to expand, and the university has land title for such lands, and the Bulu people are coming when it's too late.
Okay, doctor. The documents the Bulu people have, the Bulu and the university have documents.
Yes.
But now the court looked at it that the Bulu people, the document they have showed that that village was created when Buea was still underdeveloped, and so the village has been existing, just as he said, who came first.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Mr. Moderator. You are from Bukwango. Let me say you are in Bukwango, you are the chief of Bukwango, and I come in today that I want to be a private university. You give me land, I demarcate my land, I have my land title for it, because that land was not developed. You want me to develop the land and create a citadel of learning like a university.
But it wasn't given by the chief.
It wasn't. It was given by who? By the administration.
That's when. Let me explain. When the university, if you follow the matter well, when the university came, the chiefs gave the area since it was village lands. But at that time, Bulu, we know very well, villages were still
underdeveloped.
Yes, and they were still coming up. So coming now, they realized that part of their land was taken, and they were not part of that issue.
Mr. Moderator, the thing is that land doesn't move.
Okay.
Land doesn't move. The land that the Bulu people had at that point in time, there was no usability of the land, and the university land has clear demarcations,
which was put later.
Even if it was put later, but the university has its land title. The university was given that land.
Okay.
Let me feed land, please.
Yes.
Why is it that the Bulu people waited to today before they start encroaching and claiming that is their land? And their way of even claiming that it is their land is not even the best way. You cannot see a land that has been developed by the university where they have created a modern IT center that will help to bring about virtual learning, and they have created a newly faculty, the faculty of law and political science, and they have created a center where children are doing their research with other international universities.
Ideas now.
No, it's not lobbying. The land was given to the university by the Supreme Court. Okay. And Mr. Moderator, when you look at that Bulu land they are conflicting, you will see that the land is even closer to other buildings in the university. To claim that the land is the university land, we don't know who the persons who are behind this. The persons who are behind this, the days ahead, they will be summoned and will hear the truth. The land is the university land.
Adding what you have to say, don't you think, as he said, the persons that are behind it, don't you see that this problem of land, if you look at it, administrators have always engineered this. And you see that with my 16, a whole field has been there for decades. Someone will just come, I own the field. Don't you see some administrators want to start gaining lands and they are bringing this problem?
Thank you so very much, moderator. I should be able to follow up reinstate some few facts here before I dive into the evolution of land use. To say that there is a hierarchy in the usage of land. And in educational environment, it becomes even very more sensitive. If there is farming to take place and there are a group of people to settle, and there's just one piece of land, they have to give priority to settlement. And in part of that land, they will create provision for agricultural farm. And so,
and priority to development, who develops this.
And so, people should not forget that before 1993, Buea was essentially Buea Town and Bokwango. Maybe to an extent support. All this other community from Bondoma, coming down Moliko, all developed towns to the university. And Bulu is just that one neighborhood that is so close. Should I say that is almost married with the university community. And so therefore, it makes economic value of land very high around that environment. But there is a missing item there, the demographic aspect that was supposed to accompany and show the needs for the universities to cessate usage on that land. Because if truly the indigenous were there, okay, if truly the indigenous were there, it would have helped them, to be negotiating with their numbers. But as it stands, if you look even the protests that went out, the few individuals that were protesting, you have the feeling that they were being factored, or they were motivated, they were induced by a particular elite. It was a handful with little placards and saying almost insignificant claims. So when you look the caricature that is beside all this, one could be tempted to point some administrators that would have induced a traditional ruler like that of Bulu to go and start raising an issue for them to benefit, of course, because after all, it is, for example, the divisional officer that is the chef there, like the Francophone calls it. And so, if that issue is supposed to be to start to be petitioned, it must start at the level of the divisional officer, they take it to the court, and so many other things. As far as the law on land is concerned, the law has been revisited so many times, but Cameroon has signed and ratified international treaties, including that of indigenous. That shows that the first occupants of a particular piece of land have priority to any other person that comes to the land. That is why in the regional code for decentralization, for example, the president of the regional house must be an indigenous of that region.
But we also have maybe demarcation, development, all those things. The first person who develops, even when they want to construct, whether it's road, if you have you have a fence or development, they prefer allowing that development and crouching into an undeveloped area.
Of course, yeah. And that is where I cited the issue of demography. That if the people of Bulu had grown in their number with time, the weight of their population could have been a factor into the argument. But when you see those who came to protest, I have the feeling that they came from a different neighborhood, mobilized by somebody and given maybe a stipend to do what they were doing. So it's more of a play than an argument. I don't know whether we are there.
Yeah.
So putting all these things together, my moderator, I have this simple submission that the case should go back to law, to the court, because if both legal backing, both lawyers of the two conflicting ends have claimed that they have legal document, they should prevail, they should make prevalence of that document and provide it to the court and raise claim. I was worried when the lawyer of the University of Buea said he was to attack the Ministry of Land Tenure and Properties in court.
Barrister Ngogi.
Yes. I just say, well, when you start going on air and making those kind of allegations, and you know that that is the state, I don't know how far.
Maybe he's a man of law, he
and
knows
both
what he's saying.
and you know that Barrister Ngogi also is a politician of the SDF. And so someone was asking, why is it that the FACO elites and the other people are not pronouncing, even knowing that the University of Buea is one of the last and the rare property that is still in its integrated form. The CTC land has been tampered with, the Sonara, and it's only left. This is the only entity, corporation, that is still almost intact. So to learn, I want just to say that, well, people have their interest into this game. If any Bulu person is following us tonight, if they have not sold their land, they should start making preparation on how to build on that land. Or do mortgage. Give your land to a strong businessman that builds, and you occupy part of the land. Okay? Either if they build story building, you can be at any, you can take any floor,
Mr.
and
Please.
with time, you gradually reclaim back your land, because they'll be giving you some land. Because what happens is that people are poor and they don't have the means to build. Okay? And even when they build, we are just coming out from the Anglophone crisis. That community have suffered as a neighborhood for separatists. Even those who bear there were forced to migrate out of that environment. It is just now, with the semblance of peace that is coming, that one can believe that that environment now is workable.
Permit me say that the university is not something to joke with. And in every economy, in every society, the university is a powerhouse of that society. Buea is becoming a cosmopolitan town today because of the University of Buea. We cannot jeopardize that. And the truth is that we as a people cannot sit here to say that the Bulu people should come and they should take a parcel of land that they cannot manage. And that land is owned by the University of Buea, and their children are also being educated in this university. So the University of Buea is a national university that everybody enjoys the largesse of the university. And I feel that these Bulu people have land, and they have been unable to manage even their own little land they have there. Some have sold their lands, Mr. Moderator. Let's be honest here. If the university is struggling to expand, to develop, why encroach into the university land? You even encroach into the university land by destroying university property. Do you know the number of the expenditure, the amount the university have spent on that land to develop that land in terms of agriculture, in terms of the IT center that they want to develop, the wireless system, the virtual, the blended learning, the hybrid learning, and children also are PhD and master students are carrying out their research there that they are about to defend. And what about the future of these children, Mr. Moderator? Let's be honest, that parcel of land is to be developed by the university, and they have been developing, and the university even need more land to expand. So we should be very critical when we are saying things like this.
Somebody made a statement that especially the FACO chiefs are not that courageous because they have become politicians and so on. At one time they woke up and said part of the university land be given back to the Bakweri people. Maybe they wanted to sell as usual. And so this one coming now, do you see a kind of mafia behind it that they are pushing, but they are silent?
As a product of the University of Buea, I will say that the quest by the Bakweri chiefs that you mentioned that are becoming political might really be a call for concern, because the University of Buea as well, I blame them, because we have realized that that land has been lying dormant there for a while. And the university, no matter how years come, years pass, students complain of shortage of classrooms, they strike here and there.
And no development.
They are not developing the land. The land is dead dormant.
You have for anti 750, but you have 600 and something years.
See, today a product from the University of Buea, I will tell you that in a classroom of Amphi 150, we host about 300 to 400 students. In that case, there is no justification for the university to say that they could not expand at that time. They had the means to expand, even build more classrooms. But that land as well, it appears they are not also having use for the land. That is why the Bakore chiefs felt that if maybe for one reason we relinquished our lands to you and you are not making a proper use of it, it's better that you give us back. But that's why I made a statement here as well, that no matter how I blame the University of Buea, it's just a call for them to be on their feet to expand as rapid. Because let me tell you the technicality behind land as the law is concerned. If you have land and you don't effectively occupy that land, the land will be taken from you.
Okay.
And I want to say that considering the 6 July 1974 ordinance on land for private owners, the law requested that everybody should have a certificate. In as much as you could not produce a certificate, that land belongs to the state. And maybe those people, and the problem with our country these days is that the legal system is weak. People can maneuver and have certificates from our angle, and people can backdate dates and do everything in as much as the means is the means.
What do you have to say?
I want to complain bitterly here that when Mignoli, the guru,
the business
guru, settled in that community, I never heard any cry from the University of Buea. I wanted that cry to start from. Let me explain.
Okay.
Let me explain. If you look at the positioning, where Mignoli is, and the University of Buea, I'm not saying that he's inside the university land, but it's
let's call it facoship.
Yes, facoship. Yes. I did not hear any complaint. Maybe perhaps he did not encroach. Now, the Bulu people are coming in to say that the land should be given back to them. I feel that these Bulu people, if they want to follow stricto sensu, the law on land tenure, they must have been compensated before that university land was given to that land was given to the University of Buea. And now they are coming, if they go back to revisit the years when that land was given to them, what was the arrangement between the community? In as much as the government takes land for public use, they don't seize people land like that. There's a procedure to follow, and the natives compensated if perhaps they reallocate them to another land. And let me land. You give people most time and let me speak. Yes. I also want to say that the Bakore people should know, like the doctor said, that this is the only thing they have. The University of Buea is not only bringing development to the Buea municipality, but it's employing hundreds of Bakore people. If you go to your University of Buea, you will see majority of the administrative positions are occupied by them.
Just like in other regions.
Thanks to the University of Buea. And if you look, the house rents in Buea today, they are up in the sky. That everywhere in Cameroon they are complaining. Thanks to the highly populated population of Buea, that is thanks to the University of Buea. If you look at if you look at the location of the University of Buea, it's in such a way that at least it's not inside the town. It's beside, so it's not really centralized that they should be complaining so soon. They should give time so that if possible, I'm calling on the authorities concerned to see these lands that are still lying dormant, reallocate them and give them to the Bulu community so that the University of
He said something that the land has been lying fallow there. The university was occupying it. Now, there was a time when part of the University of Buea, the teacher train was sent to Kumba, and there was a loud cry. Why should it be sent to Kumba when they have vast land there? They could not just extend the university. They had to send it to Kumba. It was a kind of political influence.
Of course. People should understand that there is urbanization and the development goes with political intentions. Okay, Buea has already have his own share,
Yeah.
and it is nobody will debunk that fact that university brings development, and even at a faster rate. But what I want to denounce here, and maybe with some energy and emphasis, is the fact that they want to attribute to Bakweri people the cap of laziness, people who just want to sell land and live on money, even if to an extent that fact can be verified. I want to say that Bonapriso, as we talk, is having similar issues, where some houses have been called to be broken and to create pathways for roads. And when city grow, it is to conquer itself. When city grow, there are things like that happen. And so it's not a peculiarity to Bakweri people alone. If you go to Douala, you hear people telling you that, foreigners have occupied lands in Douala, the population of indigenous is reduced, they sell their land, all those things. In every community that is developed, you always hear those kind of allegations. But we must be able to beat that argument and simply say that the government, who is the proprietor of all lands, should be able to help because I don't also hold to that argument that the university land has not been optimized.
Yes.
Because 33% of every piece of land is supposed to be used for a drainage system, for example, and other urban occupation. It's not only about building that makes the occupation of a land. People should know that. Land usage is supposed to make allocation for leisure, to make allocation for agriculture.
And which will do leisure areas in Buea.
Because in development, all these are thematic. Settlement is just as thematic as agriculture, as leisure, and so many other things. Irrigation. So we should be able to factor in all these other aspects to make it a harmonized development plan. If not, so personally, I think the university has been occupying land according to its budget. Every year, there is a budget. Before you are hearing today of the Faculty of Law and Political Science, it has been budgeted. It has been just like the phone tax that we'll soon talk about. All these things are budgeted. So we want to decry the fact that the university don't communicate most often, because if there was regular, especially from the development agent that Dr. earlier zoomed in this discussion, if the development agents were coming up with regular bulletin, monthly, after a term, or even sequentially, to report on the situation of land in Buea, this issue couldn't have happened like that. At least some people could have been sensitized. Even with administrator, if we want to go into that line of discussion, that maybe it's an administrator that's newly been appointed in the Southwest or in Buea and is influencing that decision.
Or some business.
Then through those kind of periodic reports or periodic observation coming from those who are in charge of it, I think they could have been sensitized. So we are decrying a missing aspect of communication.
Okay,
here,
before I go to Dr. Busi, was it necessary that if the vast land as what we are seeing that the university had, was it necessary to take part of it to Kumba?
Oh, it means you did not hear the first part of the argument. I said, when it comes to development, the government holds the philosophy and the politics behind it.
I understand.
Sending the HTTT school in Kumba was a motive to develop that environment, because they know fully that Buea alone does not make the whole of Southwest. And let me tell you one thing, Ndian and Manu are after the government to have their own because university will even develop more than a corporation. Ndian will tell you that they have per month, but it's not enough to develop that community. University alone, see the way Buea is the most cherished town in Cameroon.
Let me come to Dr. Busi. I want to ask you the independence of the judiciary now, because we see that there's a lockerhead now between the administration and the judiciary. The judiciary has taken a decision, now the administration too is coming in now. Who should whose decision should champion before maybe I come to you, give us the legal.
Thank you very much. Before I go there, some statements were made here that I need to correct, Mr. Moderator. Permit me say that when you look at the university land, Pa Menyoli was quoted. And I want to say that the university has no problem with Pa Menyoli. Because Fakoshi, because his land is far, not even closer to the university. The university is fighting for its land that is close to the university that has been encroached. And the truth is that, Mr. Moderator, when you say development within the university, it takes time. The university they have budget, and they work according to how the paradigm shift of time. And you cannot think that the university will just build buildings upon buildings upon buildings. It's a process, as Mr. Njomo Siri earlier said. Even that piece of land were being used by indigenous or persons here in Buea to farm there. And they were farming there, and they were helping to send their own children to school. There was a woman that even cried foul that this land that she has planted she borrowed money, she planted her stuff there. This farm is helping her to pay the children's school fees. That is part of development. That's how the university is assisting people. So the university is an institution that each community should endeavor to recognize and to appreciate, because university has changed Buea. We should appreciate the University of Buea. So going into what you are saying, I want to say that the judiciary is an independent organ of government. And when we talk about separation of power, if the judiciary is there to interpret the laws, and the laws were interpreted by the highest court in Cameroon, known as the Supreme Court, and I want to say that, and the Supreme Court gave the land to the University of Buea, and that is the highest court. I don't know how these people will appeal. Even if they appeal, the Supreme Court already gave an order, a decision, that the land is owned by the university and nobody should tamper with the university land. Looking at that from another perspective, I want to also say that the Ministry of State Property and Land Tenure falls under the executive. And the procedure of land title is there, and the University of Buea has that land title. Looking at the coming in of the Prime Minister and Head of Government, Chief Dr. John Gute, which is very important. We might say that the separation of power has no, when the Supreme Court takes a decision, is independent, and the Supreme Court has given that decision to the university in favor of the University of Buea, and the Prime Minister and Head of Government is just coming to see that these decisions are implemented, and he has said that no person should encroach into the land of the university. And I'm also calling on the administrators and the elites of FACO in the days ahead, and the parliamentarians. We have seen situations where parliamentarians were voted here in FACO, and senators. We want to see them protect the land of the university and give it back to them.
Yeah, I was about to come to that. If we look at the muteness of the FACO elites.
Listen, moderator, I even think that this document, this land tenure that doctor, I have a bit disagreement with him, that it can still be attacked. I earlier mentioned that Cameroon have ratified the treaty on peoples and indigene. There's an international treaty like that. So it can still be attacked in international tribunals. I think so. But before even going there, for the FACO elites, why they are not making pronunciation, and why, personally, I think John Gute is taking side with Professor Ngomo. They are almost from the same village, and it's not want to tribalize this. And
somebody will say this state has
No, I've tried my best on this platform for the past.
But the university is found in FACO.
Not to tribalize.
The university is found in FACO.
Okay,
do you think? What does the vice chancellor have to gain in or the prime minister? Yes, that's what I'm asking.
We should be concrete.
Yeah, Mr.
We should not bring tribal
issues. Let me say that considering the issue of separation of power, you know, the principle of separation of power shows that each and every organ, the three organs of government, should take their decisions independently. But I want to tell you that looking at the times, there is no longer any principle as the issue of separation of power. Rather, it has turned out to be cooperation between the organs of power to ensure, because...
Are you talking of cooperation or wranglings in power?
No, I'm not talking about wrangling. You asked a question to Mr. Busi. if we want to learn, we should learn with an open mind.
Yeah, because at times we see this administrator say this one say this, and they are in loggerhead.
The problem that we Cameroonians, the problem that we please let me learn.
Yes.
The problem that we Cameroonians have is that we feel that when we talk of separation of all the independent of the various organs, the organ should take its decision independently. Even as the body, all the parts of the body are almost independent, but they can at one point to another depend on one other part that is for effective existence. Now, that is why I'm telling you that the government is somehow working. For example, the ministry of, the land tenure ministry cannot work without the judiciary. And there are some documents that can only come from the judiciary. Yeah. And the judiciary as well can only have some authentic information from that ministry. So now, as per this issue of the Bulu land, I am not saying that the Bulu people, because I've heard most of the panelists are misquoting me. I am not saying that the land. No, let me speak. When people are speaking on the panels, we should listen.
Just go.
Yes.
On, yeah.
If the Bulu people, I said the Bulu people felt that the land was not effectively occupied, and my landed panelist, Njomo Siri, made mention of the fact that to an extent they need to have drainage patterns and all the other. I am not refusing. You know, one thing that we do is that we pamper and try to hide facts. Yeah. I said I'm a product of the University of Buea, and there's no way by which I can turn on the other side. I just present to you facts that the University of Buea have been overcrowded to a fault, that there would have been all reasons. Every reasonable man would feel that they should have sought for alternatives, even if there was budgeting. Yeah. At least budgeting would have been directed in similar directions to see that they expand to at least accommodate the population that are meeting. Because if you admit a particular population and you cannot manage it, automatically you are telling the public that you don't have sufficient facilities. That is why you are trying to manage them in this matter, in this manner. So now, please let me learn.
Let him to come back to you. Yes.
The issue of that Bulu land, I will not lie to you, the land needs to be occupied effectively by the University of Buea. And the Bulu people, I'm not taking side with anybody. The Bulu people might need the land. But to be honest, on this platform, all the land have not been taken from the Bulu people. Okay. There's still a part of the land that is still in the hands of the Bulu people, because we should not mislead the public that all the Bulu people land have been taken for the use of the University of Buea.
That's not what I'm saying.
No. Let me speak. The land that the University of Buea is on
is giving the impression the thoughts of the people.
Did not come from the sky.
Okay.
The Bulu people have been on that land. It's just that it was couched out at one point from the Bulu land for public use.
Okay. Okay, now let me come to you. You were answering the muteness of maybe the FACO elites and so on. Because when it comes to problem like this, we hardly see the FACO elites, even the chiefs, mobilizing to solve some of these problems. And we see instead people are waiting to start encroaching to buy those lands and so on.
Yes, moderator, and this is where our MP, Malumba, his responsibility is called because he's MP for Buea Oba. And this thing is happening at the heart of Buea. We have
Zio and the rest.
For the past 9 months or so, we have been decrying the fact that when he comes to Buea, he focuses only at Bukwango and Buea town. And it's only you, Mr. Moderator, and some of your friends that are benefiting from his advocacy. So there's the Bulu people are down here actually going through a serious land dispute that might even tamper with their psychology. Because come to think that you are coming back home with all the deportation that we are registering now from abroad, and you are coming back home, you don't have where to settle. You know, nobody have 2 villages. We are making noise like this because we come from somewhere. The moment they say everything back home, you are lost. You are lost. If you read the history of African American and Black American, you understand what I'm talking. Where Black American almost have no, until they were forced at a time to start tracing their roots in Africa. So it is very important what we are talking here. Though it might look as if there are only 3 houses in Bulu that actually constitute a village, but we should be able to encourage them. That even if in the past they did not build their houses, it is time now to start making building a focus.
Okay, let me come to Doctor. This question now, if we look at it, before we come to blame, we have the CCC Munya, the area that was given to those villages around Munya, Bitingi and the rest. There we have the market.
Upper Munya.
Yes. And we also have the market. I want us to also treat that area, and why we are also talking with the university. If we look at it very well, don't you think that the government is trying to like avoid a situation that has happened with this area given by CDC, where you see strange people came and owned the land, like administrators, big business people, when the land was given to villagers and they had nowhere to build?
Mr. Moderator, I also plead with our villagers that when land is given to them, they should be able to develop that land. And the issue of land grabbing is becoming an issue. It's not only in Fakoe, it's everywhere, because it's an African way of life. Land is very important. Land is more than buildings. Land is paramount. So I want to advise persons, especially as you are talking, that they should learn how to invest in land, not to sell land. When you sell land and other people come and develop the land, don't blame them.
At times you find very poor people own land.
They say it. They say it. They say it to make life, but they don't. But the thing is that they should not sell all their lands. If you have a portion of land you want to sell, just sell a portion of land and you develop the other land you have, Mr. Moderator. It is very important we advise them on this, because we have seen places where people sell their land to strangers. Strangers develop the place. We start looking at conflict. We start looking at conflict. We should not look at it in that perspective. Conflict, because strangers have even seen that land here in Fako is very rich and fertile. Go to the northwest, Mr. Moderator. You buy a land there. For you to develop that land, even agriculture, you will spend, you will till. But here, any land here is fertile. So we are saying that our people here also can also utilize the land in agriculture, develop the land. When they have money, they build and have ownership, because land ownership is very important. We are because there's a lot of land dispute in Fako, because many persons have buy a portion of land, and each person is claiming that this is my land, this is my land. People don't even know their land boundaries. And even I watched a video where a land was given to the people of Upper Munya, and there was a conflict there, and people do not even know their land boundaries, land demarcation. And the authorities, the community elders there, the councillors there, the chief makers there, they are saying that people should come, they will deliberate peacefully, and they will see how they will start demarcating the land. So we need to understand that land is very important. It has value. The value of land, Mr. Moderator, the value of land is very important. We should not learn to sell all our land. We should value the land, develop the land. And one thing I appreciate with the Fako people, I'll be very kind on this, especially the Bakweri people. The Bakweri people are very welcoming people. That's the truth. Many a times they even welcome you and they forget about themselves. And I'm pleading that no, I don't want to look at things like that, because I don't want disunity. Yes. Let's look at issues that will bind ourselves, unity, because we're talking of national integration and unity. So it's all about living together too. That they are so the Bakwerians are welcoming living together, but also we should not also play with their rights. We should also respect their rights. But I'll end by saying that the university land remains very important. The Bulu people should see that they compromise so that the university land can develop. Even the university land develop is Cameroon that is developing, is Buea that is developing.
Okay, let's take the next level of the discussion. I want us to look at the central market in Buea. The central market in Buea, since that land was given by CDC, the Bakri people took their land back from CDC that was rented to the Germans in the 70s. Now, we see the market that was said to be worth for 2 billion francs. Today, we have grasses there and animals are moving there. What's your take about that place of land? And we are hearing that people have started encroaching into it.
The difficulties with managing public properties is that the onus is on the leaders. For example, the municipal mayors that have been taking over the mayorship of the Buea municipality. The onus is on them to ensure that at least they bring a laudable projects to construct that market. But I think, to the best of my knowledge, they have bet about just few stores around the roadside, and I'm sure that it is in their pipeline that they will construct the market in nearest years to come. So
the nearest year after how many years?
No, they cannot. Also, you should know that the Anglophone crisis has tarnished them, has really brought them to their.
Let me say something. That land was given before the
knees.
Anglophone crisis. They started.
I know.
Yeah, I want to give you something. Now, what is happening is, at one time, the Buea Council wanted to construct. They say no. The ministry has to, and before realize, they say the contract has been given to a Nigerian firm to construct it, and so on, 2 billion and so on. But till today,
I think by then we still have this issue of city council delegates, where at one point they dictate on most of those projects. But we have seen the trend to ensure effective decentralization that is coming up. That is why I'm telling you that in few years to come, the Buea Council will have the knife and the yam to get it to its taste. Now, if you talk about the market is holding, if not for the issue of stores to enable the sellers and the buy and sell them to keep their products safe and then get back home empty. If not of that, the market holds every Saturday and Tuesdays, and it is effective. So what I know about that land is that it will eventually develop, and that land as of now is under the control of the Buea Council, and nobody have intruded. I don't think it's any cause of concern, if not for the fact that there is I
think it came out in the papers.
The health center, is it health center or what they call it, the special health unit that is being constructed somewhere to ensure that at least it accommodates some special cases, and some businessmen who are also struggling to put some structures around to accommodate their whole.
I think this is information we are giving to the administrators, because it is earmarked that some of these people who are farming there, they have started in the hiding to be putting pillars there. Some people are claiming some parts, and as at now, maybe the chiefs, the administrators don't know. And secondly, that's one we are looking for. Secondly, the aspect of saying that what is delaying the construction of that market, when we know that at one time there was a budget for it, 2 billion francs. And from there, they left to the Nigerian firm. From there, the ministry said, no, the council is not supposed to construct or to take over a construction of more than a certain amount.
Mr. Moderator, I have a question. When we move forward, we forget the history. In the reign of late Mayor Ikema Patrick Isunge, he started working that project up, and he was stopped by the government that he was not supposed to single-handedly go about the project. And talking about the encouragement that you are citing here, don't forget that the new layout is just behind the Bitingwe market. Okay, and that new layout is following a government is inscribed in the 2035 vision, where the segment particular portion of land and redistribute them to investors. Because they are supposed to come there and invest both in real estate, for education for some, recreation. So that whole community behind the market like that, if it has been mapped out already. Okay, normally the government was supposed to build social houses there, and needed a partner that was supposed to accompany him to do that. And the Anglophone crisis again cannot be undermined in this line of discussion, because it has really impact in as well as the case of Bulu, but equally the case of Bitingwe that we are talking about. So personally, I think it's not much of a concern now, because of those earnest project that has already been on the table. But subsequently, because the chief of Bitingwe also that for some time has stayed for 6 years, their parents has stayed for 6 years without a chief. He was 1 year ago put to throne. So I think that all these things put together, there's an administrator there that is watching, and administrators, I mean chief, local quarter chief today are auxiliary to the government, notably the divisional officer. So if there's any land encroachment, maybe he should seize this opportunity. I think we can learn wherever. If they are following the program, they should look again. Maybe you are passing an information here that cannot be undermined. So they should take this opportunity, go to their land because they are there now, see what is happening, then report to.
Because that's another problem coming, but they have not discovered it. Okay, the next thing I want us to discuss on is we shall use this topic to finish with the program. Now, the next thing I want us to talk on is who to blame